I'm literally just taking pictures of it. That poor receipt needs an adult. Anyways, but yeah, so I don't sound like my Dutch teammates when I pronounce things. So I'm failing. And that is totally wrong. He got out of work a smidge late. Hey. Morning. Bam. I have my coffee cup today, so it's not going to be awkward walking around. But yeah, I'm gonna head in and figuring out when to do my X-ray today. I don't actually know what the Dutch call that. I tried to look it up this morning, and it was not giving me the right. It was only giving me answers that I quite understood because it just says imaging. I'm like. I could also go to an art exhibit and say, I am imaging everything. I'm literally just taking pictures of it, which is what the doctor yesterday was trying to say. He goes, well, we'll get your pictures or x-rays done. And I'm like, what's gonna be done to me? But it's just the fact that, yeah, like he says imaging to tell other people that because most people may not have the idea of what they're actually having done. Because they're not Americans and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna go have imaging done. Okay. Like it's not a big deal to them. I'm like, is this a CAT scan or an X-ray?
Yeah, I wonder what imaging can include.
Anytime they take a picture of your body.
Huh. So, based on the diagnostic imaging.
That poor receipt, it wasn't wet so it didn't stick to the bristles and it just got picked up, flung around 3 times, it was torn open and landed back on the thing. I was like, oh, that poor receipt needs an adult. It needs a hospital too, but yeah. So Aaron and I were chit-chatting about like why the fact that I realized that the Book of Mormon is tickets on sale now for September 26th.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
really far out there.
yeah, and I was like, oh, well that makes sense, especially if the Book of Mormon is done like in English with the American actors from Broadway. That would make sense because they need to figure out what kind of draw they're getting per venue.
Yeah.
And so that way, and plus, you know, as we know, funding an overseas trip or move isn't cheap. Even for as little, I mean, and they gotta move set pieces.
Yeah.
So
or make them here, but either way, that's expensive.
well, yeah, and then they still have to move them around Europe. They're not gonna,
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been in theater, and I know that they're a lot more efficient at the Broadway level than they were at high school. Like literally, we had like these panels that were like basically a wood frame with muslin stretched over it, and we just kept repainting it for whatever we needed, whether it was Fiddler on the Roof or Little Mermaid. Whereas big bands like Disturbed, one, they do have a stage presence like we've probably seen from like Trans-Siberian Orchestra, but one, they're only really moving around something like half as much as does on the stage because most venues are equipped with the rigging.
Yeah.
But they
TSO brings their own rigging. But it's only a container.
yeah, because it's just basically piping, because you're not there for the visuals per se. A band is easier to pre-bankroll to get around Europe and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, tap. Trying to. That might work. So I'm heading off to the hospital now. Aaron changed it with the GP, a phone number. So yeah, I'm just heading over. It's a Krugerplein over here. Krugerplein. I'll get it. I'm really working on it, guys, you know. But yeah, part of the issue with me and Dutch is, well, I compare and contrast everything. A lot of things, like probably things I really shouldn't be comparing. Not like to the levels of, well, okay. To be fair, I do at times compare apples and oranges because I'm working at Sinas Apple and Apple. Previous video joke. Anyways, or was that recorded in the video? Anyways, but yeah, so I don't sound like my Dutch teammates when I pronounce things. So I'm failing. And that is totally wrong. Okay, so I just got my x-rays done, and I'm waiting for the doctor to see what's going on. So I think, it's all digital, so we don't have to wait for it to develop or anything, so it could be really quick here. It's been kind of fun trying to get around this hospital and figure out where everything is at. I'll check on things on Star Trek real quick while I wait. Yeah, sorry about that backlit area. I was trying to keep the camera kind of hidden, and the best way to do that is to kind of tilt it down, but I didn't realize that the skylight above me was so bright. Anyways, so right after that, they called me back for another image of my collarbone. Maybe it's just my American thing, or it could be, actual real concern when they call you back for a third image after the fact, and they're like, it's sort of like, let's get more granularity on something we see. Well, technically it was. The doctor, she didn't see any, she thought she saw something, and so they wanted to bring me back in for another picture. And then we're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's nothing. It's probably very bruised, so I'm taking time off until moon correct, which is at the end of the month. So not too long, but I am kind of, it's called be safe for my health. So yeah, that's the deal with that one. Because if it is bruised, then I need to have it heal, otherwise it's just continuous bruising. And I'd rather take, extra calcium and magnesium and stuff and build the bone back without it being injured all the time, so the body can actually do something with it, rather than, yeah. So I'm gonna be up on the, I probably should be drinking more milk than I really do as is, but a flat white twice a week does not qualify as milk. Anyways. I eat a lot of cheese. Cheese has calcium. So yeah, I will be going swimming because that doesn't hurt the shoulder. It's just the impacting, which makes me think bruise, possible fracture. But if there was a fracture, you'd think that in any way, well, okay, there is that one motion, but that's a really hard motion to do in the gym. I can't really simulate it right now, but yeah. So I'm gonna actually go do yesterday's video now. Alright. And here the pool area is changing. So yeah, I'm gonna be here for like an hour. So you guys drown rat. Alright, I am not nearly happy with myself on that swim time. I caught Aaron on his way home from work. I was literally just dinking around with some Pokemon stuff. He got out of work a smidge late. Hey. As I was saying, I wasn't too terribly happy with the swim thing. So my right abs, my obliques really started hurting midway through. I actually had to get out and sit for a second. But it was not that sort of where the diaphragm hurts, because the diaphragm is a muscle, and if it cramps because it's not getting oxygen, because you're breathing too hard, that hurts. But this was further down on the side, the moment, I guess, in German you'd call it gleich. This absolute fragment of a momentia. I was just is my kidney exploding? And it was because I just had the x-ray today, so obviously all of the WebMDs going through my system, going through my brain right now, is my kidney exploding? Huh, I did take extra magnesium today. Am I getting a kidney stone? Am I getting kidney failure? Oh wait, that's the side that my appendix is on. No, that's way too high for my appendix. Nope, this is physically on the surface. These are my obliques. Because at one point I was behind someone who was going so slow in the medium lane. They actually had them divided this time. And they were going so slow in the medium lane, I started going to that, I turned around and did that little like paddling backwards thing I do and watched the person behind me look absolutely bored. And then I turned and I kind of did this little like side seizure thing, and I was still catching up to the person in front of me. Like I wasn't even trying to swim.
Just staying afloat.
Yeah, I was forwardly treading water in a most relaxed state. She wound up like hanging off to the side of the wall and like waiting for me to pass. And then I went over to the fast lane because I came into some other guy who was doing, I guess what I can say is an upside down butterfly. Because the butterfly has that whoosh where you bring both hands over at the same time and splash down. Except he was doing that on his back. So, but he was kicking for breaststroke with the little frog legs. So he wasn't, we're gonna order Southwark and we're gonna watch probably some more. Oh, my legs. I was trying to maintain good form with the kicking. Because I watched a couple of videos on how to properly kick. I mean, I was doing pretty good, but there's always like, what is the actual form? What is the truth? So I watched a lady, she went to the Olympics in last summer when they did, and she didn't really get any medals, but you know, if you're good enough to place for the Olympics, I think you have a qualification of being able to teach things on YouTube. I mean, Christ, I'm nowhere near paid for Star Trek Online, and I was teaching people how to play that game. But anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I will not be taking pads to practice, but I'll probably take my girdle and my pants just to participate in what I can. Drill-wise, with a bruise on the collarbone, I don't necessarily want to have any contact for a little while. Let everything get back to normal some Friday. Oh my God, my legs.